word despair. What does the word despair have in it? What letter though? Right. Okay. He couldn't go with the Scots. Ghosts never, is everybody listening? Ghosts never lived in new houses. What was he going to do? Maybe? The Scots sold the house and they began to clear everything out. They held a sale and people came to buy the furniture and the dishes. Gus wandered about as things were carried out, wailing and wringing his hands. These two words, wailing and wringing, means that he's really nervous and scared he's going to lose his house. It's so sad, right?
Yeah.
The house was empty now. The Scots closed the door for the last time. "Goodbye, house," they said sadly. "Goodbye, Gus." "Don't go," cried Gus from the window of his attic apartment. But the Scots went off. Gus waved his handkerchief with ghostly tears streaming down till the car was lost from sight. Until he couldn't see it anymore. He was crying. Ghosts can cry. The house was empty now except for Gus, and he was very lonely. Besides, the house might be torn down any minute. Down the road stood an even older house. Gus knew the old ghost named Captain Payne who lived there. In a creeping, curly, ghost-like fog, he floated down the road. "I am going to lose my home," he told the old ghost. "Would it be possible to rent a room here? I would help with the banging and clanking." The old ghost, Captain Payne, moaned and made other ghostly noises. "As a matter of fact," he groaned, "this banging and clanking is becoming too much for me. If you will take over the job, you may move in." "Oh, thank you," cried Gus. "I'll go get my bang clank equipment." He brought his bang clank equipment and moved into the attic of the ancient house. He was so grateful to the old ghost for taking him in that he resolved to do the best bang clanking job in the world. Think he's gonna like it?
Yeah.
You think the old ghost is gonna like the banging?
No.
I don't know, we'll have to see. That night he banged and he clanked and he banged and he clanked without a break. He kept it up all night and the next night and the night after that and the night after that. Captain Payne came trembling upstairs. He came upstairs a little angry. "I'm a nervous wreck from this racket," he shouted. "Oh, excuse me," exclaimed Gus. "I'll bang very softly from now on." Captain Payne shook his ghostly head. "It's not going to work. You're living here. I'm sorry. Goodbye." Can you believe that?
No.
Goodbye. Sorrowfully. Do you guys remember what sorrowfully means?
Yeah.
What does that one mean? Right, sad. Right. Sorrowfully, Gus gathered up his bang clank equipment, and in a creeping, curly, ghost-like fog, he floated up the road to the lonely, empty house about to be torn down. Who does he try to move in with next?
Mouse.
Right, the mouse. The next day, Mouse came around. "Shall I move in?" "They're going to tear the house down. Have you got some other place to go?" "Oh, of course," said Mouse. "A mouse can always find a house." "May I go with you?" asked Gus. "I suppose so. Come along." Gus hastily gathered his bang clank equipment and followed Mouse out. Hastily? You guys know what that word means? What? Hastily. He quickly gathered his bang clank equipment and followed the mouse out. Mouse led him to a hole under dry leaves in the woods. Mouse dived right in. Gus set down his bang clank equipment outside the door and he began to squeeze through the little hole. Even though he was a ghostly ghost and held his breath, it was a pretty tight fit. Mouse popped impatiently out of another hole. "Don't take all day, Ghost," said Mouse. "Help me," asked Gus. What do you think's gonna happen? You think he's gonna get him in?
Yeah.
You think he's gonna have a lot of room in there?
No.
No.
He lives in the mailbox.
He lives in a hole.
I saw because it was a mailbox.
Oh, I didn't see that. Well, good looking. Mouse popped into the hole again and grabbed Gus's legs. Gus wiggled, Mouse pulled, and at last Gus found himself a little little black and blue down in Mouse's house. You're going to crowd me, complained Mouse. If you're crowding someone, what do you want to do? He made himself as small as he could. He didn't want to be any bother, but soon he saw from Mouse's muttering and stamping that he was in the way. And he was really uncomfortable too, in such cramped quarters. In the night, he heard rain pounding on Mouse's house. Uh-oh. Where's his equipment?
In the rain.
Right, it's in the rain. Oh, my Bang Clank equipment will rust, he thought in dismay. May I bring my Bang Clank equipment in out of the rain? No, you may not, said Mouse. Gus sat scrunched up in a corner all night. He was cooped up in a corner. As soon as daylight came, he got up very painfully and wiggled his way through the hole. Sure enough, his precious Bang Clank equipment was red with rust. Thanks just the same, Mouse. I'm going home. I'll stay till they tear the house down. He lugged his Bang Clank equipment home and spent the day removing the rust. You know, how do you think he feels?
Sad.
Pretty sad.
See the mailbox?
Right, now he's back at home. Good job, Katie. Once more, he put his mind on the problem of where to live. I'm going to put out an advertisement, he thought. He put an ad in the paper. Ghost named Gus, experienced... Fraser, are you listening? Ghost named Gus, experienced, friendly, and needs a good home. Would you guys answer that?
Yeah.
You want a ghost living in your house?
No.
I don't think so. He looked in the mailbox every day, but no reply came. Nobody wanted to give a ghost a home. Everybody listening? Then a government man, Mr. McGovern, came around to see if the house was empty so he could tear it down. When Gus heard the key in the lock, he thought, maybe I have one last chance to save the house. He hurried downstairs and he said, this is a lovely old house. There aren't many like it left. But Mr. McGovern was not listening. What's a ghost going to do? Please don't tear it down, said Gus. He hammered Mr. McGovern on the head, but all Mr. McGovern seemed to feel was a little breeze on his bald head. But suddenly he stood still. What happens?
He didn't tell like that.
Yeah, very good. I just had an idea. Gus stood still too. This is a lovely old house. There aren't many like it left. I won't tear it down. We'll use it for a museum in the park. You guys told me what a museum was yesterday. Do you remember what it is today?
Yeah.
Who knows? Everyone all together. Well, a museum is a place where people come to look at old things. He called in the carpenters and the painters, and they took off all the old curling off the roof and nailed on new shingles. They repaired the window glass and put on fresh white paint. Gus was everywhere. Who knows what a carpenter is? Everybody all together? A carpenter is someone who makes wood. And a painter, what does a painter do?
Paint the house.
Painters paint, right. Mr. McGovern brought in old clocks, wheels, and candlesticks, and all sort of ancient things. Gus ran his fingers lovingly over the old things. That was a splendid idea of mine, said Mr. McGovern. So what is it now? Now it's a museum, right.
It's not a house anymore.
All it needs is a ghost. Who do you think he's going to call?
No.
Think he's going to call Gus? Yeah?
No.
Where did I see something about a ghost? I know, in the paper. He pulled the paper out of his pocket and there was the ad. Ghost named Gus, experienced, friendly, and needs a good home. Answer it, said Gus. I'll answer it, Mr. McGovern said. He mailed a letter and said, Dear Gus, you're invited to make your new home in the Park Museum. How will we know if he accepts? Mr. McGovern wondered. Said Gus. Good, now we know that he wants to stay. Then people poured in to see all the ancient things in the Park Museum. Mr. McGovern explained about every single one of them. He told them to notice the lovely old house, for there weren't many like it left. Gus looked after everything. He banged and he clanked, and we've got a ghost, said Mr. McGovern proudly. The end. The end. The end. The end. Can we go over a couple things?
Yes.
Yeah, we're just going to go over a couple things. So, what happens in the beginning? He finds out that his house is going to be right. And then he asks to live with who first? Who came first, the other ghost or the mouse? Right. And then who does he ask to live with? Right. He asks to live with the mouse. And then what happens? And what's it get turned into? Very good. So today we're going to be doing something with the pictures from the book, and we're just going to be putting them in order the same exact way that you guys told me. Can we do that?
Yeah.
You guys can do that. Yeah? Okay, can everybody see crisscross applesauce? Thank you. Can we use that thing too?
Oh, you want to use the smartboard?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
What?
Can we just pause it? Sorry.
Sure.